double check that it's going to the right place.
I have to mute it. I think.
Oh, yes, I see a little icon from First Parish.
Okay, so
Oh, no, that's the, I don't think that's the right one.
let's see what we get. It's seeing.
Oh, no, it is the right one. It is the right one.
All right, I'm going to stop sharing after I muted it. And then I stopped sharing. And you're wearing dark glasses?
This is a photo that somebody snapped in a Zoom meeting I was in earlier.
Oh boy.
Because that week was the week I broke my previous normal glasses, so I really only had sunglasses to work with.
I'm sorry to say it makes you look like a mafioso.
Well, I grabbed that from a picture in which they actually edited me into holding a cigarette in the style of Dr. Strangelove.
Oh, geez. All right, so I'm going to go over to that, and
We don't need to be streaming this live to YouTube right now.
Well, I've got to give this control. Let's see. I'm going to send this to Tom so he can make it the link to our, our service, Sunday service link that goes to this particular stream.
And I just let Laura Brown in to join us.
Okay. Right. I'm going back to Zoom. No, I'm going to go to my email. I guess I got to go to email and send something to Tom. Damon. Link to YouTube.
Hello. So, Phil, I do have one question.
Yeah.
What is the bumper video?
That's the thing that goes through all the pictures of the church.
Oh, I see it in the folder. Why don't I see it in my downloaded folder? This is weird. Oh, wow. Looks like I need to do a quick correction.
Okay.
Weird.
It'll take long to download. You got a minute or two before it starts.
Yeah. I'll just download that right now. Oh, it's because it was a really big file. So it refused to put it in the zip file because it couldn't scan it.
Right. You have to say
I think
download
that's what
anyway.
happened.
Right.
Yeah. So I downloaded it explicitly and it did that to me. And I think I need to do that. Or don't I? Two minutes.
So you've got all the other pieces?
I think so. Just going through and checking.
All right. I'm just texting Tom Gaiman that I sent him the email, I mean the YouTube link. And it seems to be running. And I've muted it on my browser. So we should be ready when you are, I think.
How long is that bumper?
It's about 12 minutes. And if you start it late, you can, of course, slide it along to get it a little further.
And
you're using a tablet as well for the order of service?
Yep.
That's great. I see your email.
Bumper. Music. Don't be weary. Yes, this is this one. Let me start with this.
So we've got Eric Bailey, we got Tom Gaiman, I'm admitting,
Good.
and I'm admitting Eric. Good morning, Tom and Eric. Eric, I'm going to make you a co-host.
I'm gonna turn off the waiting room.
Yeah, you can turn off the waiting room and you can mute people, I think, at this point.
Everyone is muted as they join.
Okay. You and I can stay in. I'm making Eric a co-host just so I can spotlight him later.
Yep.
And I've got Tom Gaiman in there.
Hey guys, I'm here. Sorry I'm a little late, but I'm here as back.
Got it.
I couldn't quite make out what you said, Becky.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to let you know I'm here now. I was at something else that ran long. I'm a little late to arrive.
Okay. All good.
Phil, it's Eric. How's my audio? I can use a headset if I need to, but at the moment I'm just using a laptop.
Okay, your audio sounds a little echoey, but maybe if you're
Kind of quiet.
closer to your face.
All right, let's see what I can do about that.
Does your headset have a microphone?
Yeah, so let me switch.
That would be better, I think.
Although we won't be playing music as you actually speak.
True.
All right, let's try this for audio. How does that sound?
Crystal clear.
That's much better.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Love it.
You have an open door in your background. Might look better if it was closed.
Good point.
Okay, I'm gonna go mute. Maybe you should too, Peter. You can chat me if you need something. Oh, but muting seems to have stopped your sound for the video. Did you share the sound when you shared the screen? Maybe you need to set your audio up.
No, I'm sharing sound.
Okay, but When you muted yourself, it's. Okay, it's good now.
Good morning. What beautiful music that was. Welcome to First Parish in Needham Unitarian Universalist. Our church was founded along with the town of Needham in 1711. As our town has changed, so have we. What would our ancestors have thought about this new Zoom way of worshiping together? I would like to extend a warm welcome to each and every one of you. If this is your first time being a part of our online worship, you are welcome here. If you are a Zoom expert who could teach a class on it, you are really welcome here. And if you, like most of us, fall somewhere in between, we welcome you too. Whether you are bi, gay, straight, or any variant of our heart's desires, she, her, they, them, he, him, or anything, anyone, black, brown, white, or anything else, you are welcome here. My name is Eric Bailey, and I, along with my wife Liz and our daughters Cassie and Zoe, who have quite literally grown up in this church, have been a member here for over 17 years. I am deeply blessed by the opportunities the First Parish has given me, from 10 years of teaching our whole lives at all 3 grade levels, to hosting margarita tastings and friendly feasts, to leading a summer service a few years back, to my current role on the stewardship team. In so many ways, First Parish has shaped who I am today. And I like to think that I have shaped a little bit of who First Parish is today as well. And just who is First Parish today? Well, with the exception of not really seeing each other in person on Sunday mornings, we are still who we have always been: warm, caring, passionate, committed, and generous. So very, very generous. I am moved beyond words with the outpouring of support as we are launching our pledge drive this year. Today is the first time we've really talked about it in the service, and yet we've already received 46 pledges totaling over $135,000. And I'm thrilled to report that we have received what may be our very first youth pledge in our church's history. Yes, we have several youth members, and maybe there'll be more to come. The pledge drive, by necessity, looks a little different this year. You won't see me at a table in Parish Hall, but what you will see is an outreach that spans generations and geography, with the largest group we've had in many years all working together. Returning are Joyce McGovern and David Menard, and new this year are Linda Davis, Bob DeNoble, Jen Robbins, Craig Scholl, and Kevin McCormick. Some you may hear from through emails and phone calls. Some will be behind the scenes with spreadsheets and reports, but all are working for you and with you to help keep First Parish, First Parish. All of us have our own favorite gift that our church gives us. I named a few of my own earlier. Think now about what yours is. Maybe it has dimmed a little in the past year as we've been remote. Maybe it's actually grown brighter. But no matter what, it is still there because First Parish is still there. But it needs your help to stay there. While we all hope that we can safely resume in-person worship in the fall, we won't be completely sure for some time. But know that no matter what, we are all under one roof. That is who we are, whether that is in the literal roof of our meeting house or more of a metaphorical roof that brings us all together, even when we can't be together in person. We're not always comfortable talking about money, so maybe some specific numbers may help. The past few years have raised about $350,000 each year through pledges, and our payment rate is very high, close to 100%. Even during this past year, with health and employment uncertainty, payments are very strong. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But some families have drifted away, and that isn't a big surprise. So this year it will be a challenge to raise that much again, but it is a challenge I think we are ready for. 2/3 of our income comes from pledges, and 2/3 of our expenses go to staff compensation. Our staff help ensure that First Parish is here for us. This is our chance, in a very real and literal way, to show that we are here for them. With sufficient funds raised, we can strive to provide for well-deserved raises for the staff and for Reverend Katie, all of whom are falling behind on the fair compensation guidelines from the UUA. And in the next few months, we'll be bringing on a new permanent DLRE to guide the next generation through their faith development. But it isn't all about salaries and staff. It is about staying true to who we are as a church. As a guideline, you can use 2.5% of income, 2.5% of your income, adjusting up or down as appropriate. Only you know what the right amount is, but you will know it when you find it. This is not give till it hurts. This is give until it feels good. Whether your pledge is under $100 or over $10,000, and we have members in both categories, if it feels right to you, it probably is. If you're a member of First Parish, you should have received a mailing with a pledge form. New this year is a self-stamped return envelope. Thank you to the many families who have used it. Simply fill out your form, drop it in the mail, and you're done. You can also pledge online through Realm, or simply send an email to Susanna in the office or any member of the stewardship team, and we will ensure your pledge is recorded. If you're new and aren't quite sure what this is all about, we would love to talk with you. As we do our outreach over the coming weeks, if we find that there is a desire for a pledge and financial information session, we will make it happen. Remember, First Parish is more than a charity. Most of your other favorite charities will not visit you in the hospital, bring you a casserole when you are sick, or support you in a crisis. This is your community. We are so deeply grateful for your commitment to our church, even in these trying times. In the words of the hymn that will close today's service, wake now my vision of ministry clear, brighten my pathway with radiance here. The radiance is indeed here in all of us. Let it show. Thank you. And again, welcome.
Thank you so much, Eric, and good morning to all. As we light our chalice, symbol of our faith, we read words adapted from Black Unitarian Universalist music director Dero Farrar. If you have a chalice nearby at home, please feel free to light it as well. Change is a word on wheels. It's not a destination, but a journey. If we are to be change, we must commit to humility and refuse to settle for our own comforting achievements. That which is in us and all around us and which constantly draws us to our holiest selves. Remove from us any spirit of complacency that would aim to prevent us from seeing the truth of ourselves. Strengthen us as we commit to a lifestyle of development, and remind us that lifestyle is simply called love. The first verse of our opening hymn, which now you have a preview of, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing, was written by 18th century British Unitarian minister Reverend Robert Robinson, and the other verses were penned by 20th century Unitarian Universalist minister and religious educator Reverend Jean Navius. Please join in singing from home, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing.
Call for songs of loudest praise.
In the Unitarian Universalist tradition, the covenant is a set of promises the membership of a congregation strives to honor with one another and out in the world. Though we cannot gather in person during this time, we strive to live these promises every day. Please say along with me from home the words of our parish covenant. We gather as a loving community to encourage and comfort one another. We gather as a diverse community to support each other in our search for spiritual truth. We gather as a service community to live our beliefs through action and care for our world.
Let us join together now in prayer and meditation. Spirit of life and love, God of many names, we rejoice with all of you who come today in joy. That slowly, different population groups in our congregation are getting their COVID-19 vaccine brings us great joy. Combined with gratitude overflowing for all those volunteers who are helping our folks navigate the vaccine website and get their appointments, so that we will once again find ourselves back under one roof. We celebrate the recent executive orders focused on immigration, with particular attention to family reunification and policies related to asylum seekers. Though there is still much work to do, we celebrate the benchmarks that these executive orders mark. And we have joy in the long-standing national ritual of Super Bowl Sunday tonight. Though we wish they were still playing on our team, may Brady and Gronk pull off another Super Bowl win. Our hearts are also with those who come today with a sorrow or a fear or in tiredness or weariness. Our prayers go out to our friends in Myanmar, where there is unrest after the military staged a coup earlier this week. May democracy have the last word in places like Myanmar. May we look to this loving community for resilience and hope when our own is in short supply. May we hold each other from a distance in the places that are the most tender this week. And may we remember that even though physically distanced, we are still deeply connected. May it be so. And amen. And please join us now in singing from home our meditative hymn this morning, Ubi Caritas. The lyrics and music will appear on your screens.
Ubi
It's Pledge Sunday this week at the church. This is the special service that we have every year to pause to consider the gifts and resources that we can share with this church in the form of time, money, and any other expertise that we have to offer the church. When I think about what are the unique things that I can offer to a cause or a place, sometimes I get overwhelmed by how big problems seem or by how big the size of the need is, and I get discouraged. But then I remember this story by Lauren Isley called The Star Thrower. I'm going to share it with you this morning while Roberta acts it out from her own home. Once upon a time, there was a wise man who used to go to the ocean to do his writing. He had a habit of walking on the beach before he began his work. One day, as he was walking along the shore, he looked down the beach and saw a human figure moving like a dancer. He smiled to himself at the thought of someone who would dance to the day, and so he walked faster to catch up. As he got closer, he noticed that the figure was that of a young man, and that what he was doing was not dancing at all. The young man was reaching down to the shore, picking up small objects and throwing them into the ocean. He came closer still and called out, "Good morning. May I ask what it is that you're doing?" The young man paused, looked up, and replied, "Throwing starfish into the ocean." "I must ask then, why are you throwing starfish into the ocean?" asked the somewhat startled wise man. To this, the young man replied, "The sun is up and the tide is going out. If I don't throw them in, they might die." Upon hearing this, the wise man commented, "But young man, do you not realize that there are miles and miles of beach, and there are starfish along every single mile? You cannot possibly make a difference." At this, the young man bent down, picked up yet another starfish, and threw it into the ocean. As it met the water, he said, "Ah, yes, but it made a difference for that starfish." As you hear that story, you might pause to think about what your individual contributions at the church are. And what are the ways that you hope to contribute in your community or in the world? What can you learn from the boy's perspective on helping the starfish that is right in front of him? I also wonder, what if the young boy had friends with him to throw many more starfish back into the ocean before the tide went out? What might have been different? What if the wise man walking on the beach stopped to help throw starfish back into the water too? What then? Here ends our all ages story time this morning.
Thank you so much, Jenna and Roberta. That was fantastic. It's a lot for us to think about. This congregation has been supported by the volunteered time and treasure for its members and friends since its founding in 1711. This is the time in our service when we, the modern stewards of this church, offer what we can to build and sustain the congregation and the world we envision. This month, our collections will be split 50-50 with the Unitarian Universalist Urban Ministry. The UU Urban Ministry was founded in 1826 by Greater Boston Unitarian congregations to support the Reverend Joseph Tuckerman in his ministry of empowering Boston's most underprivileged residents while transforming the spiritual consciousness of their most privileged neighbors. For almost 200 years, the UU Urban Ministry has provided services and educational opportunities in line with Reverend Tuckerman's vision and modern Unitarian Universalist values. Today, the UU Urban Ministry offers programming for children and youth, organizes community events, and runs a women's shelter. Much of that programming now is online. First Parish in Needham is a longtime member congregation of the UU Urban Ministry. To donate to today's offerings, you can use one of 3 different methods. You can use our text to give program through the number 73256 with the exact wording of UU Needham space plate or pledge 21 space $, and the amount you want to give. You can mail a check to First Parish at 23 Dedham Avenue. Or you can make a donation through our website, uuneedham.org, and select Donate Now under the Giving box. Whichever way, remember to specify whether your donation is meant for the plate collection or for your annual pledge for 2020 to 2021 or 2021 to 2022. Thank you for everything you are able to give to help support and sustain this congregation and the vital work of our community partners. Please take these next few moments to give what you can and know it will be gratefully received. responsive reading this morning is from our former minister and former president of our national denomination, the Reverend Dr. John Behrens. I will read the plain type and you all will respond from home with the italicized type, along with Jenna. The words are about to appear on your screens. Blessed are those who yearn for deepening more than escape, who are not afraid to grow in spirit.
Blessed are those who take seriously the bonds of community, who regularly join in celebration and learning, who come as much to minister as to be ministered unto.
Blessed are those who bring their children, who invite their friends to come along to join in fellowship, service, learning, and growth.
Blessed are those who support the church and its work by their regular, sustained, and generous giving, and who give of themselves no less than their money.
Blessed are those who know that the church is often imperfect, yet rather than harbor feelings of anger or disappointment, bring their concerns and needs to the attention of the church leaders.
Blessed are those who, when asked to serve, do it gladly, who realize that change is brought about through human meeting, who do the work of committees and stay until the end.
Blessed are those who speak their minds in meetings, who can take and give criticism, who keep alive their sense of humor.
Blessed are those who know the work of the church is the transformation of society, who have a vision of beloved community transcending the present, and who do not shrink from controversy, sacrifice, or change.
Blessed are they indeed. About 4.5 years ago, I met with our beloved, now moved away member, Dick Eastman, either at Bagels Best or Fresco. The memory is a little fuzzy, but it has a breakfast meeting feeling. He was giving me his firsthand account of recent church history in preparation for my History Sunday sermon planned for November 13th, 2016. I didn't choose to preach that sermon on church history the Sunday after the 2016 presidential election. But let me share with you now what I learned, with apologies in advance to our archives team that I didn't think to fact check this story with them until this morning, when it was already too late. In the 1960s, First Parish was much smaller, maybe only 1/3 of the membership we have today. Dick said that we were the poorest church in town. He recalls that the budget was in the ballpark of just $20,000. I did say that correctly. 20,000, not 20. And with salaries for a minister, administrator, religious educator, and sexton, there wasn't much left for heat, electricity, and water, much less maintenance on the church buildings or the 2 homes we owned at the time. Even with a generous $10,000 memorial gift from first parishioner and famed first female Massachusetts state senator Leslie Cutler, Dick described annual meetings in the 60s as wrestling matches about whether to repair the church building or to offer employees livable wages. Like today, our members in the 1960s were can-do folks devoted to their faith and their faith community, and they did as much as they could for the church, even though our income was thin. Many of them are still with us in the church community today. Then a local bank contacted a member of the congregation to see if we wanted to sell our land and our property with an initial offer of $400,000. That'd be a steal in today's Needham, but in the 1960s, as Dick phrased it, that was big money. So our congregation considered whether to sell. He said that the conflicts about this offer were what you'd expect. Emotional attachment to our buildings and the location colliding with economic reality and the hope that change would lead to growth and stability. All growing, living things change. But could we do that while keeping our beloved building, and location. A big question at the time was, is the church its building, or is it the congregation within? I want to stay with that question for a little bit, though I imagine you're curious what happened with that offer. Yes, First Parish voted to sell the land and, like we did in the 1800s, move the meeting house down the road. And no, obviously that didn't come to fruition. And when the Reverend John Baker in the 1980s decided not to live in the parsonage, the sale of that parsonage and a second bequeathed home kept our main buildings in order long enough to last through towards the big capital campaign renovation and rebuild of a decade ago. But is the church its building, or is it the congregation within? At the all-virtual UU ministerial gathering last June, part of our keynote was given by Rebecca Nadesi, a Black American holistic health practitioner and community coach. She spoke to us about butterflies, and more importantly, cocoons. Though I remember learning about the migratory patterns and life cycle of monarchs when I was in elementary school, they did not teach us what happens inside of a chrysalis. I don't have the recording of Nadesi's lecture, so I'll share with you what modern science writer Faris Jabbar writes of the process. How does a caterpillar rearrange itself into a butterfly? What happens inside a chrysalis or cocoon? What does that radical transformation entail? First, he explains, the caterpillar digests itself, releasing enzymes to dissolve all of its tissues. If you were to cut open a cocoon or chrysalis at just the right time, caterpillar soup would ooze out. But the contents of the pupa are not entirely an amorphous mess. Certain highly organized groups of cells, known as imaginal discs, survive the digestive process. Before hatching, when a caterpillar is still developing inside its egg, it grows an imaginal disc for each of the adult parts it will need as a mature butterfly or moth, discs for its eyes, its wings, its legs, and so on. Once a caterpillar has disintegrated all of its tissues, except for the imaginal discs, those discs use the protein-rich soup all around them to fuel the rapid cell division required to form the wings, antennae, legs, eyes, and all the other features of an adult butterfly or moth. Such a metamorphosis is awesome in the traditional sense. It inspires awe with a touch of fear. Though fear can be overcome when facing such a transformation, if we remember that dissolving into something new does not mean we have lost all we were before. Euro-Australian entomologist and professor Michael Braby wrote a column about butterflies, answering a child's question, do butterflies remember being caterpillars? Braby wrote that while there's no evidence that the insect's memory goes that far back, there is a study wherein researchers trained caterpillars to dislike the smell of ethyl acetate, a chemical often found in nail polish remover. They let the caterpillars transform into adult moths and then tested the moths again to see if they still remembered to stay away from the ethyl acetate smell, and most of them did. The scientists had shown that the memories of avoiding the bad smell experienced as a caterpillar had been carried over into the moth stage. The study showed that while a moth or butterfly may not remember being a caterpillar, it can remember experiences it learned as a caterpillar. Rebecca Nadesi spoke to that virtual gathering of UU ministers to remind us that as ministers, we are in the cocoon with our congregations. We have the opportunity to support our faith communities through the goo, bringing forward important learnings from the past and activating the imaginal discs of the future from within the amorphous and nourishing soup of transformation. This really sounds like what a whole faith community does together, not just the minister. Each of us an imaginal disc amidst the soup of possibility. Is the church its building, or is it the congregation within? First Parish is just over 300 years young, and we have weathered many crises. This faith community has shown creativity, dedication, and resiliency through every war of the United States, through cultural and financial crises, through the burning of our original meeting house, through smallpox and influenza pandemics. Is the church its building, or is it the congregation within? I think this year we've answered that question under circumstances Dick and I could not have predicted 4.5 years ago. It was our choice to turn the well-loved and well-practiced caterpillar of our nearly all in-person church into a cocoon of a nearly all virtual church. We chose to become goo instead of trying to stay the same under these extraordinary circumstances, which is to say, we chose to still gather in the safest way we could, instead of in a risky way or in no way at all. We're in this cocoon together and looking ahead to a future when we might emerge as a butterfly. And what will that butterfly look like? Only we determine that. Each of us an imaginal cell, all of us working together, all under one roof together, one day. In the future, I do believe there will always be a need for an inclusive, thoughtful, progressive, and growing congregation like ours in our town and in the world to nourish kinder people who work to bend the moral arc of the universe closer to justice. And I do not believe we have to be trapped by a false dichotomy between our beautiful buildings to which we are attached as a spiritual home and creativity and growth. With ingenuity, devotion, and generosity, we can have both. But if the time comes again when the building does not or cannot serve us, we can be confident that the church is the people of the congregation, not its buildings. It is us. And it is those who will join us later and those who will steward the congregation long after us. The next 300 years of First Parish's history begins right now, begins anew every day, with us choosing for this community to thrive, for our own nurture, and for the benefit of our neighbors. I'll now joyfully introduce 3 first parishioner households, 3 of our imaginal discs, who will offer testimonials about what First Parish means to them, especially in this challenging pandemic year. We'll hear first from Susan McGarvey, and then the Robbins family, and then Leslie Nelkin and Ed Quinlan.
My name is Susan McGarvey. When I first began attending First Parish in 2014, I was impressed by the energy of the community. This was a happy place. It was alive and active. I could feel it. Because I already knew quite a few people, it wasn't long before I felt comfortable. And making new friends didn't take long either. Soon, First Parish became my new spiritual home. This community provides a place of belonging for me, and also a place that challenges me to grow as a person. I was able to develop an understanding of UU principles and to think again about what I believed and how I wanted to demonstrate that in my daily life. I learned more about just how many people put time and energy into creating a Sunday service and the social hour that follows. Gradually, I became aware of the network of all the helping hands and those who administer pastoral care. I joined the Green Congregation Committee, and I joined a small group and was able to share my thoughts and build trust over time. I was encouraged to expand my consciousness about racism, to read and discuss several books. I found out that I too could offer something to the community by teaching people to do Zentangle. All this happened before March 2020. Then we moved to Zoom land. I have felt so proud of the people who have kept our worship services going, as well as all the groups that continue to connect us and to offer stimulation, new learning, fun, and caring. Many of my relationships have deepened through these offerings. In fact, I wonder if some of the Zooming will continue even after the pandemic is over. A day will come when we begin to meet in person again. I know that the First Parish community will be there for all of us as we emerge from this experience. This community is very important to me on many levels, and I am so grateful.
Hi, we're the Robins, and I'm here with my husband Alan and my daughter Katie. We have 2 other children who are living elsewhere doing their thing. We have been members of First Parish for about 15 years now, and really love it.
Yeah, one of the things I think we all love about it is the fact that you can really believe what you like as part of First Parish, and it's a great diverse community. It's been fun to get to know everybody as part of that, and also I really enjoyed teaching, getting to know families, getting to know the kids so much better as part of teaching for the RE program as well.
And I'm part of the youth group, and while it's definitely different in a pandemic, I'm still loving getting to see everyone every weekend on Zoom. And I also like getting to know people from different grades and other towns.
So one of the things that's keeping me going during the pandemic is I'm part of a small group, and we meet 2 days a month to discuss various things. And that has been really great to be able to see each other and still be able to get together, even though we can't see each other in person. So there's lots of things to love about First Parish. Those are ours. And what we're most looking forward to is when we can all see each other in person again, hopefully soon.
Good morning. I'm Ed Quinlan, and I'm here with my better half, Leslie Nelkin.
That's me.
We'd like to explain what First Parish has meant to us over the past 25 years of our membership. We originally joined the congregation when our kids were just about to start school. We wanted to make sure our children were exposed to spiritual beliefs and practices without the dogma of my own Catholic upbringing. But we discovered that religious education for our children was only part of what First Parish had to offer. It became more than just a spiritual home for us. It's also a community of friends embracing not just personal spirituality, but also social action, environmental stewardship, and good times. First Parish offers many opportunities to get engaged in activities. For me, the choice was easy. While the church is nothing without its committed members, it's also nothing without a safe and comfortable home, the building. This is my second run as property committee chair. Our committee works to ensure that the building and grounds remain in a good state of repair so that we can all enjoy our time in worship and activities. As a result of the contribution of our parishioners, First Parish now has one of the lowest carbon footprints of all houses of worship in the country per the EPA Energy Star program. Now, our historic steeple with its Paul Revere bell is the focus of our attention. It's in need of repair. We have been awarded a grant of $50,000 from the town's Conservation Commission towards its repair. We need to raise the other $50,000 from our membership. We're hoping to find donors who are able to contribute towards this project, which will hopefully take place this coming summer.
And for me, I love First Parish for its vibrant and inclusive community of people that comes together to make good trouble. I'm so thankful for the opportunities to get involved in things like the youth group service trips, the Mother's Day Walk for Peace, and support for undocumented immigrants. Plus the opportunity to keep learning more through things like Lane Lyceums and the Action Book Group. These things keep me and Ed tethered to the mission of First Parish, and we hope to see you in person before too long.
Thanks.
Thank you all so much for sharing your love and appreciation for First Parish. Your faith community loves and appreciates you too. And I hope that during social hour, we can continue to share with one another what difference First Parish makes in our lives. May we each and all find our unique way of supporting our congregation through time, talent, and treasure, and help keep First Parish going for another 300 years. May this be so. Blessed be, and amen.
As we close our worship today, you are all invited to stay with us for our Zoom social hour. And remember, today is your last day to bid on the auction items, so get those last bids in. Please remember, if you fall ill or need any pastoral support, to reach out to our ministers, Reverend Katie Scudera and Jenna Crawford, or the pastoral care team and caring crew via phone and email. As we extinguish our chalice today, with some soft snow falling outside, please join me from home in saying these words written by Unitarian Universalist minister, Reverend Elizabeth Selly Jones. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, nor the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Our closing hymn, Wake Now My Senses, was written by Unitarian Universalist minister Reverend Thomas Mickelson, who is the minister emeritus at First Parish in Cambridge. This hymn was written for the installation and ordination of Reverend Charity Rowley as the Minister of Religious Education at the First Parish in Arlington. We are especially thrilled to be led by our music directors, Melissa's father, Bill, for this hymn today. Please join in singing from home, Wake Now My Senses.
thy senses and hear the earth call. Feel the deep power of being in all. Keep with the web of creation your vow, giving, receiving, as love shows us how. Wake now, compassion, give heed to the cry. Voices of suffering fill the white sky. Take as your neighbor both stranger and friend, praying and striving their hardship to end. Wake now, my vision of ministry clear, brighten my pathway with radiance here, mingle my calling with all who will share, work toward a planet transformed by your care.
As we close our worship today, take these words adapted from modern UU Methodist minister and theologian, Reverend Dr. Rebecca Parker, with you as a benediction. We are at risk of forgetting, or even never coming to deeply know, that to be a human being is to live in a world that provides richly for human life, including ours, a world that is to be stewarded, not abused. We must not lose track of this knowledge. We inhabit a world that has enough to feed all of Earth's living beings and to shelter all of Earth's children. If we forget this, and if we forget that our presence matters, then we fail to act as a people who bless life and who contribute to Tikkun Olam, mending the world. We must not forget, even in trying times, our gratitude for this abundant world and our beloved community. May such gratitude spark generosity and the continued collective work of mending the world. Our service begins when our service ends. Blessed be, and amen. Amazing. Thanks, everyone. Please stick around for social hour. I'm going to be handing it